Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every man, Jack of you. Good evening to all and sundry. This is your very own KMD Yunus from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. Welcome to my studio. Marvel to welcome you all to my domain. Hello, good evening. I want you people to get connected with me in large number. What are you people waiting for? You gotta do a very simple thing. To get connected with me, you need to answer a very simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? Yes, you heard me correct. I want you people to answer the simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? And get connected with me. I have decided to go live for at least an hour today. I have decided to go live for 60 minutes today. I have decided to go live at least for an hour today. And I want you people to make the most of it. Make the most of my live session. I want you people to make the most of my live sessions and come and join me live today in large number and learn to speak grammatically correct English. Hello. Good evening to every magic of you. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to all and sundry. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. How are you people doing today? I want you people to answer the simple question of mine and get connected with me in large number. I am doing pretty well. Thank you very much. What about you? I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? This is your very own spoken English trainer, professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. As far as my previous online session is concerned, remember talking about present perfect tense. Yes, you heard me correct. Remember talking about present perfect tense. Remember uttering a couple of questions. And remember talking about present perfect tense. Remember uttering a couple of questions based upon present perfect tense. Questions like, have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? I'm talking about the first meal of the day, the second meal of the day, and the third meal of the day. Hello. Welcome to Learn English with KMD. Thank you very much for joining me live today. I want people to join me in large number. What are you people waiting for? Come on, come and join me in large number. How are you people doing today? How are you people doing today? The answer is I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? Hello. Good evening. Thank you very much. This is a very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Hello. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every magic of you. Good evening to all and sundry. What are you people waiting for? Don't be chicken. Don't get panicked. Don't get nervous. Don't get apprehensive. Come and join the large number. Welcome. Well, in order to get connected with me, you need to answer a very simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? And the answer is I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? What am I talking about? I am talking about spoken English. Well, I always talk about spoken English. I always discuss spoken English. Well, I'd like to divert your attention towards an important concept here. Well, I get here that many students, professionals, professors, associate professors, and teachers, well-qualified people committing this mistake. Now, what is this mistake I'm talking about? Well, many of them have the habit of using discuss about. Let me tell you one thing, it's grammatical. We're going to probably use about after discuss. We never do that. So let's discuss about grammar. Well, this sentence is grammatically incorrect because we never ever do the mistake of using about after discuss. What exactly is the meaning of the word discuss? If you refer dictionary, if you look at this word in the dictionary, the meaning you find for discuss is to talk about. Yes, you had me correct. That's the meaning. Sabira? 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 जल्दी तेरा फोन लेको आओ, तेरा फोन लेको आओ पर। Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Well, I was talking about a concept here. I was talking about a concept. Life. चल रहा मेरा प्रोग्राम. Well, I'm talking about a concept here. The concept I'm talking about is never ever do the mistake of using about after discuss. We never do that. It's grammatically wrong in part to use discuss about. Let's discuss about grammar. Now, the correct sentence is let's discuss grammar. Let's discuss about politics. Grammatically incorrect to say let's discuss about politics. You better say let's discuss politics. We never do the mistake of adding about after discuss. We never use about after discuss because it's grammatically wrong. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my domain. Well, I request all you people out there to comment join me in large number. What are you people waiting for? Comment join me in large number. This is a very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my domain, welcome to my studio. Worthy to welcome you. Ecstatic to welcome you. What does spoken English mean? Spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. Yes, you heard me correct. What does spoken English mean? I want you people to pay close attention to the question formation here. What does spoken English mean? I'm using does in my question because I'm talking about third person singular spoken English. Because spoken English is not a person, but spoken English comes under the category of third person singular. It comes under the category of a subject. I want to get the chance to talk about third person singular. I need to add does in my question. What does spoken English mean? Spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. Here are a couple of other questions based upon the same pattern. Here are a couple of questions based upon the same structure. Question number 1. What does your father do for a living? All you people out there, what are you waiting for? Come on, comment, join a large number. In order to get connected with me live today, you need to answer a very simple question in mind. How are you people doing today? And the answer is, I'm doing very well, thank you very much. What about you? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. What about you? What does your father do for a living? What does your father do for a living? Question number 2. What does your mother do for a living? Question number 2. What does your mother do for a living? Question number 3. What does your brother do for a living? And question number 4. What does your sister do for a living? And question number 5. What do you do for a living? Well, here are 5 questions. And all these 5 questions are based upon the same structure or based upon the same pattern. Now, what is this pattern talking about? What does? What does? Why am I using does in all these 4 or 5 questions? Have you ever tried to figure out? Have you ever tried to figure out why I'm using does in all these 5 questions? Or, I'm sorry, why am I using does in all those 4 questions and why not in the 5th question? What does your father do for a living? What does your mother do for a living? What does your brother do for a living? And what does your sister do for a living? Well, it's not what do you do for a living. Question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. All these 4 questions talk about third person singular. Your father, your mother, your brother, and your sister. And question number 5 talks about you. Question number 5 talks about you. Yes, you heard me correct. What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? What does your father do for a living? What does your mother do for a living? What does your brother do for a living? What does your sister do for a living? And what do you do for a living? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. This is your very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. What are you people waiting for? Come on, come and join the large number. In order to get connected with me live today, you need to answer a simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? How are you doing today? And the answer is, I'm doing very well, thank you very much. What about you? What are you people waiting for? Come and join the large number and learn to speak grammatically correct English. Yes, you heard me correct. I want you people to learn to speak grammatically correct English. Say no to grammatically incorrect English. Get rid of grammatically incorrect English. Well, as far as my earlier live sessions are concerned, remember talking about a couple of concepts here. The first concept, remember, talking about, as far as my other live sessions are concerned, is myself, KMD Eunice. I remember discussing this concept, remember talking about this concept, remember putting light on this concept in one of my live sessions, and I remember telling the people that it's grammatically incorrect on your part, it's grammatically wrong on your part to say myself, KMD Eunice. Because myself is a reflexive pronoun. And we never use reflexive pronoun as a subject of a sentence or at the beginning of a sentence. It's grammatically right and your part to say, I am KMD Eunice. It's grammatically right and your part to say, my name is KMD Eunice. It's grammatically right and your part to say, this is KMD Eunice. And you could even say, it's KMD Eunice up to some extent. But it's grammatically incorrect in your part to say myself, KMD Eunice, because it's not a mistake, it's not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder. Yes, you heard me correct. Using myself in the beginning of your sentence, using myself as a subject of your sentence is not a mistake, not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder. Well, I remember talking about this idiomatic sentence in one of my live sessions earlier. What does Himalayan blunder mean? Himalayan blunder means a serious mistake, a grave mistake. And I remember giving a couple of examples as well. I remember quoting a couple of examples as well. Example number one, accepting the partition of India in the 1947 was a Himalayan blunder. I'm talking about partition of India which took place in the 1947, and I'm telling you people that accepting the partition of India was a Himalayan blunder. Example number two, accepting the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh was a Himalayan blunder. Example number three, skipping breakfast is not a mistake, not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder. I'm talking about breakfast, which happens to be the first meal of the day. And I'm telling you people that skipping breakfast is not a mistake, not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder. So never ever skip your breakfast. Always start your day with breakfast, because breakfast is the first meal of the day. You start your day with breakfast, and I start my day with breakfast. Almost all of us start our day with breakfast. So never ever skip your breakfast, all you people out there. What are you waiting for? Come and join me, large number. Come on. Come and join me, watch number. This is a very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? I am talking about present perfect tense here. Have you had a breakfast? Yes, sir, I have had my breakfast, or I have had. Have you had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had my lunch, or yes, sir, I have had. Have you had your supper? Yes, sir, I have had my supper. Yes, sir, I have had. I am talking about breakfast, lunch, and supper. No, sir, I have not had my breakfast. No, sir, I have not had my lunch. No, sir, I have not had my supper. Have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? Come on. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every magic of you. Good evening to all and sundry. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. I want you people to come and join me live today in large number by answering the simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? And the answer is I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? I want you people to type this answer right away and get connected with me and be the part of my conversation for the next half an hour. Well, I have decided to go what today, at least for an hour. At least for 60 minutes. Thank you very much for joining me live today. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every man check of you. Good evening to all and sundry. Well, I'm talking about spoken English. What does spoken English mean? And spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. Yes, you heard me correct. What does spoken English mean? Spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. I keep reiterating my students, I keep telling my students time and again that a good listener can become a good speaker. Yes, you heard me correct. A good listener can become a good speaker. But a good speaker can be a good listener. If you are a good listener today, you become a good speaker tomorrow. If you are a bad listener today, you become a bad speaker tomorrow. Well, the ball is in your court. Well, it's up to you to decide whether you want to be a good listener and become a good speaker tomorrow, or you want to be a bad listener and become a bad speaker tomorrow. So what does spoken English mean? Spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. A good listener can become a good speaker, but a good speaker can't be a good listener. Listening is primary and speaking is secondary. Listening always comes first and speaking always comes next. Listening is primary and speaking is secondary. Good evening to every man, Jake of you. Have you had a breakfast? Yes, sir, I have had my breakfast. No, sir, I haven't had my breakfast. Have you had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had my lunch. No, sir, I haven't had my lunch. Have you had your supper? Yes, sir, I have had my supper. No, sir, I haven't had my supper. Remember, breakfast is the first meal of the day, lunch is the second meal of the day, and supper is the third, last or final meal of the day. And all the three questions are based upon present perfect tense. Have you understood? Yes, sir, I have understood. Have you got my point? Yes, sir, I have got your point. Have you comprehended? Yes, sir, I have comprehended. Have you come early today? Yes, sir, I have come early today. Have you come a tiny little bit early today? Yes, sir, I have come a tiny little bit early today. Have you paid your fee? Yes, sir, I have paid my fee. Now, if you pay close attention to all the questions are based upon present perfect tense. And I am using third form of verb in all these questions here. I'm using past participle here. I'm using weak three form of verb. That's what I gotta do. That's what I need to do because grammar wants me to use third form of verb. Grammar wants me to use past participle with three form of verb with have and has with present perfect tense. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to every man, Jake of you. Come and join me live today. Come and join the large number. What are you people waiting for? Come on. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every man, check of you. Good evening to all and sundry. Come and join the large number. All you people out there, don't be chickens. Don't get apprehensive. Don't panic. Don't get nervous. Come and get connected with me live today and learn to speak grammatically correct English. Yes. I'm talking about a concept here. Now, what is a concept I'm talking about? It's grammatical. We're going to probably use about after discuss. Never ever do the mistake of using discuss about because it's grammatically incorrect to do so. Let's discuss about politics. Wrong sentence. We never ever use about after discuss. We simply say let's discuss politics. Let's discuss about grammar, grammatically incorrect. We never ever use about after discuss. We simply say let's discuss grammar. Let's discuss politics. Let's discuss English, etc., etc. Come on, come and join me like today. All you people out there, come on, in order to get connected with me like today, you need to answer a very simple question of mine. How are you people doing today? How are you people doing today? And the answer is I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to you, dude. What does spoken English mean? Spoken English means speaking English fluently without hesitation. What does your father do for a living? What does your mother do for a living? What does your brother do for a living? What does your sister do for a living? And what do you do for a living? Now if you pay close attention to all these 5 questions, you find one thing in common. All these 5 questions are talking about your job. All these 5 questions are talking about your livelihood. What does your father do for a living? I'm talking about your father. I'm talking about the head of your family. What does your father do for a living? Well, my father does job for a living. My father does business for a living. My father does work for a living. My father runs business of his own for a living. What does your mother do for a living? I'm talking about your mother. What does your mother do for a living? Well, the answer is my mother does job for a living, or my mother does business for a living, or my mother does nothing. She's a homemaker. She looks after me and my siblings. Yes, you heard me right. If your mother is not a job holder, if your mother is not doing any sort of business, then you better say my mother is a homemaker. All you people out there, I want you people to understand one thing, that housewife is an outdated word. We no longer use it. You better say homemaker. Because you are talking about your mother, and your mother is a homemaker. What does your mother do for a living? And the answer is my mother does nothing. She's a homemaker. She looks after me and my siblings. I am talking about your siblings here. Your siblings or your brothers and sisters. Rather than saying brothers and sisters, you better go with a single word. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Well, I can simply go with one single word here. How many siblings do you have? Using instead of brothers and sisters. What does your mother do for a living? Well, my mother does nothing. She's a homemaker. She looks after me and my siblings. What does your brother do for a living? I'm talking about your brother. What does your sister do for a living? I'm talking about your sister. What do you do for a living? I'm talking about you. When I'm talking about you, I'm not using does in my question because I'm talking about second person singular here. When I'm talking about your father, mother, brother, and sister, I'm using does in my questions because I'm talking about third person singular. Hope the concept is clear. Hope the concept is transparent. Hope the concept is absolutely clear. What does your father do for a living? What does your mother do for a living? What does your brother do for a living? What does your sister do for a living? And what do you do for a living? I do job for a living. I do business for a living. I do work for a living. I do teaching for a living. Etc., etc. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every man, Jacob, you. Good evening to all and sundry. Welcome to my channel. Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. How are you people doing today? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. What are you people waiting for? Come on, come and join me, large number. Come live. This is your very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Good evening to every man, Jacob, you. Good evening to all and sundry. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. I'm back again. I'm live again. This is your very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Have you all had your breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? Well, I'm talking about breakfast and lunch as far as supper is concerned. I guess it's too early to have your supper. It's 5:55, if I'm not wrong. It's 55 minutes past 5 o'clock. It's 5 to 6 o'clock. And I personally believe that it's too early to have your supper. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about supper. I'm talking about a breakfast and lunch. Have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had my breakfast. Yes, sir, I have had my lunch. I'm not talking about supper, because I know that it's too early to talk about supper. Well, I'm talking about a concept today, and the concept I'm talking about today is using about after discuss is grammatically wrong. Well, never ever do the mistake of using about after discuss. It's grammatically incorrect. Let's discuss about politics. No. Let's discuss politics. Let's discuss about grammar. No. Let's discuss grammar. Let's discuss about this. Let's discuss about that. No. Let's discuss this. Let's discuss that. Because the meaning for the word discuss you find in dictionary is talk about. When we are getting the meaning talk about for discuss, it's wrong and important to use about after discuss. So never ever use discuss about, always use discuss. Let's discuss politics. Let's discuss maths. Let's discuss English. Let's discuss grammar. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Come on. Come and join me like today. What are you people waiting for? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Learn English with KMD. A platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Come on, come and join me, large number, all you people out there. Well, I believe that the rain has slackened. Yes, you heard me correct. Well, when I decided to go live today in the evening, all of a sudden it started spitting, and then it started drizzling, and then it started raining. It started pouring down really very hard, and I guess the rain has slackened now. Has the rain slackened, all you people out there? Answer the simple question of mine. Yes, sir, the rain has slackened. Yes, sir, the rain has stopped. Has it stopped raining? Yes, sir, it has stopped raining. Well, when I decided to go live in the evening today, it was spitting, then it started drizzling, then it started pouring down. And I presume that the rain has slackened now. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening to every magic of you. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. This is a very unprofessional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Come and join me in large number. More me to welcome you to my channel. And I presume everything is tickety-boo and presume everything is hunky-dory with you people out there. I'm doing pretty well, thank you very much. I'm doing pretty well, thank you very much. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. Have you all had your breakfast? Have you all had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had my lunch. No, sir, I haven't had my lunch. Well, it's exactly 6 o'clock, time for me to call it a day, but with a promise that we shall meet again, the same channel, the same place, the same location. Learn English with KMD. Thank you very much, all you people out there, for joining me live today. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. And the concept you've learned today is discuss about is grammatically incorrect. Never ever say discuss about, always say discuss. It's not discuss about. Let's discuss politics. Let's discuss grammar. Let's discuss this. Let's discuss that. But it's grammatical wrong, and of course, say let's discuss politics. Let's discuss about politics. Never ever do the mistake of using about after discuss. Well, time for me to call it a day, but with a promise that we will meet again soon. I shall meet again soon. Do take a very good care of yourself. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.